Hello and welcome. If you're new here, do me a huge favor, click that subscribe button down below for content like this and many more. For all your current subscribers, thank you for watching, for liking, for sharing my videos. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Now, what do I have next to me? This is the 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid. This particular tester is the hatchback and it's the sport touring trim, which is the highest version of the Civic. I'm going to talk about it, review it, go over all the text and features, share the incredible miles per gallon that this vehicle has. And before I continue, I want to give a big thank you to Honda for allowing me to have this vehicle in my home test area for me to review for you guys. Stay tuned, that's coming up next. Okay, let's talk 2025 Honda Civic Sport Touring. This is the hybrid model, so this is the absolute highest version of the Civic in both hybrid and non-hybrid. And let's talk about it. So this is the 11th generation of the Honda Civic, which debuted back in 2021. And it's a very good looking Civic. Honda did an excellent job with design and styling. So up front you have these full LED headlights, as you can see, turn signals as well. It's flickering on camera, but it doesn't flicker like that in real life. That's the unfortunate thing of LEDs when they're being filmed. Now, this has a hybrid system, so it's paired to a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, paired to a dual motor electric hybrid system, 1 generator unit and 1 drive unit. What that means is it has an electronic CVT transmission, which propels the car forward, and the other one generates power for the battery. And it makes about 200 horsepower and 232 pounds-feet of torque, which is excellent. But we'll go over in depth, show you guys what that looks like underneath the hood. But let's just continue the styling. And up front, you have a very mean, aggressive front end, very large opening for cooling right there in the bottom and the top. My tester, being the highest trim, does have parking sensors up front. This color is called Sand Dune Pearl, and it's an extra $455 option. And I know that color is subjective, but I would definitely, for me, I will skip this color. I'm not a fan, but to each his own, obviously. My tester, being the sport version, has 18-inch wheels wrapped in Goodyear Assurance tires, 235/40. These are all-season tires. And moving on to the side, you see the mirror caps are black because it is the sport touring trim. It does also has a sunroof, keyless entry. So if you walk up to it, you can just put your hand on the door handle to open it, and this is to lock it. But the vehicle will not do anything because that's why it's yelling at me. And for those of you who don't know what current Honda keys look like, this is what it looks like. You have lock, unlock, remote start, and open the trunk, and then panic button. Simple, straightforward key. And I think out of the two of them, let me zoom out a little bit, the hatchback, I think, is the best looking one out of the two. Yes, the sedan is good looking too, but look at this rear end. I mean, it's very cool. I do like the taillight design, turn signals, brake lights LED, and in the middle you have that third brake light right there. Now that we're back here, let's look at the cargo area. Oh, and of course, little wiper right there. Let's look at the cargo area, which is why I would prefer, and will claim that this one is the better out of the two, because you have a huge cargo area and a deep well here compared to the sedan. And of course, this has 60/40 split seats, so you can just do this and fold that down, and you have maximize your cargo capability, which I'll insert the figures on screen. And it's super flexible. Being a hybrid, unfortunately, it does not have a spare tire. It just has a tire inflator kit, but it looks like you can still put maybe a tire here. I don't know. It looks that way, but you might have to remove all these panels, things of that nature. It does have this. My tester does have the Bose sound system, which I'll go over in the interior section. And there is where the Bose subwoofer it lives. It does have a little cargo, itty bitty cargo cover, so when you close the hatch, you won't see, people can't see your cargo and stuff. All right, let's take a look at the interior, the powertrain, and then we go for a quick drive of the 2025 Honda Civic Hatchback Hybrid. Stay tuned for that. Okay, let's take a look at the powertrain of the 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid. On the left, there lives a 2.0 liter four-cylinder engine. And this on the right, there is the two motor generator that I mentioned earlier. One for propulsion, which behaves like a transmission, which is called in the industry an ECVT. And then the other one's a generator unit, which behaves like a alternator slash regen braking device. But being a Honda, this is going to be super reliable. Honda is just making these systems better and better. So you have now the Honda Civic Hybrid, you have the CR-V and the Accord, which is excellent. So basically the same system shared across the lineup with a few exceptions. Under this hood, of course, power-wise, is 200 horsepower and 232 pounds-feet of torque, which leaves the question, why get the Civic Si when you can get this and have power and fuel economy in both? All right, let's go over the interior and the tech, and then we go for my final drive. Stay tuned for that. Okay, let's step inside the 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid. Put your hand on the door handle, and let's talk about the materials. Inside the car, being of course, a Civic, the materials are very nice. Now, nothing, of course, this is not a luxury car. This is, of course, an economy vehicle, but nonetheless, this trim, being that it has leather interior, very nice. Of course, you have power windows, door locks, auto up and down the front two windows. Does have heated mirrors in this particular trim because it is the Sport Touring. You got a little bit of piano black right here. This one, of course, is power. The seats are power. Excuse me, only the driver's seat. The passenger seat is not power. And let's step inside. Stepping inside this modern Civic, you can see the Civic has grown up. It's all grown up, and it's a very, very nice place to be. Honda did a great job in the design of this modern day 11th generation Civic. And correction, the passenger seat is power. So it is power. Both seats are powered in this trim. In front of you, you have a full LCD instrument cluster, which is very, very nice and configurable. So you can, the left one you can configure with this little scroll wheel here. So you can do Android Auto. It has built-in Amazon Alexa. You can customize the display, back, phone, FM, AM, USB, Bluetooth, etc., which is very nice. So, and on the right, this one can be controlled as well. So you can do, as you can see, let me zoom in a little bit. The vehicle is rated at 48 miles per gallon combined, 45 city and 50 highway, which is excellent. The highest I saw was about 46, which is phenomenal in a car like this. This is why hybrid vehicles just makes more sense. The vehicle does have automatic headlights. Let me just click on that so I can get that away. Automatic headlights, automatic wipers. I like the little, what was called in the industry, cheese grater design, which is very cool. You could just, you know, adjust it there. These are the vents. And moving on to the, before we go to the center, on the steering wheel is not heated, but it's a nice sport steering wheel. On the left-hand side, you have controls for the media, track forward, track backwards, volume up and down, voice command button, and the little wheel to control the left speedometer. And on the right side, you have the control for the automated cruise control. So you could turn on the system on and off, cancel, set your speed right here, resume and set, and then the distance in front of the vehicle, and then lane departure warning, lane keep assist, right here on the left hand side. The steering wheel is very nice grippy. You got sport grips over here on the side. Very nice sport steering wheel. Moving on to the center, this particular tester has the 9-inch infotainment screen running Android Automotive. What that means is basically Android. It's running Android. It has native Google Maps, as you guys can see, which is very nice. And it has built in the Google Assistant, so you can say, "Hey Google, what's the current temperature?"
The temperature in Croton on Hudson right now is 53 degrees.
And there you go. So you can actually, of course, speak to it natively. The vehicle does come with 3 years, I believe, of data connected services. So you can, of course, have built-in Google Maps. You can ask it anything, which is very, very cool. Very simple, straightforward design. It does have built-in also Amazon Alexa, access to the Play Store. So you can log in with your Gmail account and download pretty much a lot of the same similar apps as you would in your personal phone. It does have, of course, it has wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. Super simple to use. Vehicle settings here. Here you can go. You got tire calibration, lighting, door setup. You can change how the instrument cluster looks like. You can change that as well. So it does have, you know, you can customize it how you like. And what else in here? Climate control setup. You can, you know, set automatic climate control for both. So for both passenger and driver, obviously. So full automatic, which is cool. So that when you turn this on, you can link, of course, you can link the temperature. And as you saw, the car has been on the entire time, but it turned on now because I just turned on the car. And moving back to the screen here, you could do individual settings, the powertrain. When it comes to the drive, this is for the driving modes, which I'll go over in a second. Maintenance information, oil change, and things like that. Power flow meter tells you what the hybrid system is doing. So this right now, the engine turned on because I activated the climate control. And as you can see in the little graph, it starts sending power to the battery, which is the battery level. And you have one there, and you have one right there. Let me zoom in right here. So that is actually the battery indicator. So as you can see, the engine just turned off, and you see it says EV. So right now it is in full hybrid mode. So if I take off, the car is going to be moving on electric power until it's needed. So trip computer, Bluetooth, very straightforward, very easy system. Over-the-air updates, so you can of course do here and then update the system as updates come along. Of course, this vehicle does have a backup camera with trajectory lines, which is very nice. And you can of course also customize it. You can make it look like this, so it tells you what the park, because it has parking sensors. It tells you what's going on, but it will still do that on screen. So if I show you, let me demonstrate that. If I'm backing up here, you see the parking sensor start beeping and yelling at me that there is an object behind itself. And that's pretty much it in terms of the infotainment screen. You do have heated seats in this particular model. Dual zone climate control, like I mentioned. Heated mirrors. In the center here, you have two USB ports. Both of them are USB-C. A traditional power outlet right here. Turn on the light so you guys can see. You do have a wireless charger, a charging pad. Moving on to the center console, there are the different drive modes. So drive modes are, you got sport, individual, eco, and normal. So eco, of course, will set the vehicle in its most economic state. This way, to maximize, of course, fuel economy. Let me zoom out a little bit more. And going back to the center console, you got electronic parking brake right here, and then you have auto brake hold 2 decent sized cup holders. I like the fact that it has a regular shifter, nothing crazy, no buttons or anything like that. And it has an itty bitty glove box. Decent sized glove box right here. I mean, center console. Got a little coin tray right there. And this vehicle does have a decent sized sunroof. Not the biggest thing, no panoramic, but I prefer this over anything. And of course it opens. So, nice little feature to have if you care about sunroof. All right, let's go into the back seats, and we see the spacious seats back there, and then we'll go for a quick drive of the 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid. Stay tuned for that. Okay, let's step inside the back seat of the Honda Civic Hybrid. And the materials are similar as in the front. I do like this kind of like metallic look, which is kind of nice. And it feels actually very nice to the hand. There's more of that piano black, just like the front. Little door pocket here. Let's get in. Ow, hit my head because it is it is a little lower back here. But I am 5'8", and the seat is adjusted to how I drive. Plenty of room. Unfortunately, there are no USB ports back here or climate vents, which would normally be here. But there's a look at the very, very good looking center console and dashboard, which again, Honda did an excellent job with this new design of the modern day Honda Civics, which is very, very nice. And of course, there's a look at the sunroof. You do have little LED light back here and 2 cup holders. That's it. Nothing crazy back here. You do have tweeters in the door because it does have the 12 speaker Bose sound system in my particular tester. Okay, so let's take this Honda Civic Hatchback Hybrid for my quick drive and final thoughts. Stay tuned for that. All right, let's drive the 2025 Honda Civic Hatchback Hybrid. This is the Sport Touring trim, which that means that this is the highest version. All right, I have the car in normal mode. So let's put in the little flow meter here. And like I said earlier in the video, it's an interesting proposition because yes, you have the Civic Si, but this is interesting because you're getting the same power and possibly even more torque than the Civic Si. Actually, I'm gonna ask Google. Hey Google, what are the specs of the 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Oh, I guess it doesn't understand. But anyway, in terms of comfort, the suspension's a little on the rough side because it is a sporty hatchback. So, and maybe the wheels and tires combination in my not so perfect New York roads here are not doing it any favors. Yeah, I felt that one. But overall, without imperfections, the car is comfortable. Let me try to get away from these massive bumps. And again, the MPG is excellent. That's where you buy the hybrid version. And not only the hybrid version, but you also buy this one, which is the hatchback, which I think when it comes to practicality from the two, this one is definitely the winner. If you want something small and you want a little bit of cargo capability, but you don't want to buy the CR-V, this is where it's at. And I'm going to do my usual highway loop here. I'm going to put it in sport mode, which will pump in artificial audio, but it moves. And see if somebody lets me in here. It definitely has decent power compared to its competitors. And I do like the fact that it's doing an excellent job at simulating gears. Thank you, Honda, for cracking that code, because it does not feel like a CVT at all. There's no CVT whine. It just pretends it's an automatic. And I think the steering feels a little firmer in sport mode. And yeah, it is definitely piping in the audio through the speaker, which is fine. It's called active sound, but if you set it back to normal mode or eco, it definitely takes fuel economy into consideration. And yeah, I mean, it's great. I have no complaints. This is an excellent vehicle if you're for a first-time buyer, if you want, for your kids, your kid's first vehicle, or if you just want a second car and you want fuel efficiency. You can't go wrong with a Honda Civic Hybrid, both sedan and hatchback. Another thing that I gotta say, if you click on this left paddle, you can activate regen braking. What that means is it forces the electric motor to send energy back to the battery, as you guys can see, and it starts charging the battery. But right now I'm already in electric mode. As you may or may not know, most hybrids, the second you lift off the accelerator, you go into electric mode into hybrid mode. So right now, of course, I come to a full stop. Happy to report that the brakes are not touchy, and I'm in electric mode. Right now the gas engine is off, which hybrids, of course, hybrids do shine in stop and go traffic, but they also work very well in day-to-day driving, and especially hybrid modes. Like, you could be doing 50, 60 miles per hour on the highway. When the system determines that we don't need the engine anymore, it will shut it off and continue on electric only. And it does that back and forth dance seamlessly, and you don't even know what's happening unless you look at this graph here, which, as you guys can see right now, the car is in electric only. The gas engine is off for, of course, slow speeds like this, local driving, which is when the fuel economy comes into play. And of course the engine turns on, and it's a regular 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, which, as you guys may know, Honda is a master of engine building. And brakes are good, doesn't feel bad. Good stopping power. And like any vehicle, any hybrid vehicle, if you drive it in an efficient manner, you will be rewarded with MPG, of course. But even though I was driving a little spiritedly, it was doing 29 miles per gallon in my quick drive. And this is my comprehensive test and review of the 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid. Again, this is the hatchback sport touring trim. My as tested is about $33,000 because it is the absolute highest version of the Civic Hatchback Hybrid. Thank you for watching. If you haven't done so already, consider subscribing. It really helps me a lot. And I will see you all on the next one. Take care and stay safe.